Good
So,
morning, everyone. I'm Divya.
yes.
I would like to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to present my work on ELPS lepton interactions. Uh, just a small review on axions and axion-like particles. The CP violating part of the standard model after electroweak symmetry breaking has these two terms. One is because of this Q bar Q term. One is related to the Yukawa, and another is this G nu tilde term. These both terms can be the CP violating phase from the Yukawa term can be related to the G nu tilde term by the second equation. And the observational consequence of these things is encaptured in the electric dipole moment of neutron. We have heard about these concept in the David Marsh talk, and the smallness of this parameter, because which is inferred from the value of electric dipole moment of neutron. This is quite intriguing, and because it gets contribution from two different parts of the standard model, and this is known as a strong CP problem. And to the circumvent this issue, axions are considered, and such particles are also motivated in lots of other problems. Uh, for example, to resolve the origin of dark matter, to solve the hierarchy as well as flavor problems. And within specific ultraviolet scenarios, as we have seen in earlier lectures, the masses of the mass of axions and ELPS and couplings to the photon are typically related. However, there one can also consider a model independent approach and can assume that the couplings and mass of the axions or axion-like particles, they are free parameters which can be probed experimentally. In this context, ELPS interactions with standard model fermions as well as gauge bosons are described via an effective Lagrangian built with the operators up to dimension 5, which are given like this. So, and these can be probed in a wide range of experimental facilities. For example, uh, numerous ways have been proposed, and there are various experimental facilities which talk about the photon axion or photon ELPS coupling. These interactions can lead to some additional sources of cooling of the astrophysical objects like red giants or pulsars or things like that, or supernovas. Similarly, these particles, because of the virtue of by the virtue of these interactions, can also be produced in the colliders. And because of such interactions, the axion photon coupling is quite strongly constrained. On the other hand, the most stringent limits on ELPS lepton coupling arises from the cooling effect, the again cooling effect of the astrophysical objects like red giants. Similarly, these particles can be produced in beam dump experiments as well as in colliders. However, apart from these collider bounds and the astrophysical bounds, the axion-lepton interactions are relatively less studied. In this work, in this talk, I am going to discuss the cosmological implications of ELP-lepton interactions, in particular its impact on the BBN. So the BBN, Big Bang nucleosynthesis, occurred when temperature of the universe was between 10 keV and 1 MeV, and therefore axions with mass less than a MeV can affect the physics in this era. So the axions in particular can be produced via the following processes. So basically they can be produced because of the scattering of photons and leptons or via the annihilation of leptons. So based on the dimension analysis, the probability of such processes can be recast in terms of the temperature of the plasma. So, and thus a ratio between the interaction rate and Hubble expansion rate can be obtained. So as we can see, for at larger temperatures, for temperature much larger than the mass of the lepton, the ratio is inversely proportional to the temperature of the plasma. And however, this ratio is proportional to temperature for temperature much lesser than the mass of the lepton. Therefore, because of such relation, there is a duration in the history of the universe when these particles can be in equilibrium, and after some time they can leave this plasma. So, I would like you to note that this feature arises only for axion-lepton interactions because it is effectively on a marginal coupling. When I say a marginal coupling, basically it's proportional to the mass of the leptons. So, and it can be seen from the figure, this figure, that the axion produced in this way stays in thermal equilibrium for some duration. Now, depending upon the coupling and the mass, they may go out of equilibrium at lower temperatures, and they might be in equilibrium around the BBN, basically around the neutrino decoupling, or can also have can also be out of equilibrium, but can have a significant energy density during that era. So the non-negligible abundance and the energy density of these particles can increase the Hubble parameter. A larger Hubble parameter can modify the neutron to proton ratio, can also change and can change the abundance of helium and deuterium. And this effect is captured by a quantity defined as delta in effective VBN, which is relativistic effective degrees of freedom uh, at the neutrino decoupling. So this is given as the ratio of the energy density of the new particles and the density and the energy density of the photons. Please note that that even if ELPS or axions are out of equilibrium, they can also contribute to the total energy budget of the universe. And if this contribution comes out to be significant, they can still the parameter space, the corresponding parameter space can still be constrained. So in this figure, the delta N effective is depicted as the function of temperature uh, for uh, for axions which are in equilibrium. So yeah, so as we can see, delta N effective greater than zero point 0.5 at temperature equal to 1 MeV can still be achieved, and the corresponding parameter space would be strongly constrained. And next I show you, sorry, yeah. So to calculate the energy density of these particles, we solved the Boltzmann equation for distribution functions of the axions, neutrinos, as well as the corresponding leptons. Why do we need to solve the Boltzmann equation for distribution functions? Because these particles need not be in equilibrium, and that is why one has to obtain first distribution function. Simultaneously, one is also supposed to solve the evolution of temperature of the plasma, which will go as an input in these Boltzmann equations. And once we obtain the distribution function, one can calculate the energy density in this manner. Uh, uh, to do these calculations, we assumed that Axion's initial abundance is zero, because we wanted to do a model independent study. We assumed its abundance to be zero. And and with these, with this in this way, we obtain delta N effective as the function of the interaction strength. And here I depict this function for relativistic axions. So for relativistic axions, delta N effective obtained during at neutrino decoupling and delta N effective around CMB decoupling would be same, and that is why I have depicted this function for relativistic axions. As we can see, delta ineffective BBN is constrained, its value is constrained to be 0.39 at BBN. Its value is constrained to be zero point 0.2 by the Planck in the Planck 2018 results. And
So
in
Divya, you
upcoming,
have 3 minutes remaining.
yeah, and in the upcoming experimental facilities, this could be this limit would be lower, and we would and even the smaller and smaller coupling strengths can be constrained. In this work, we restricted ourselves to the BBN era, and we did the analysis for axion mass less than 1 MeV, basically with non-zero, basically massive axions. And the following results are obtained. So these blue curves, these blue solid and blue dashed curves correspond to delta ineffective 0.39 and point 0.5 and 0.39. And we can see the BBN studies can also constrain the axion parameter space uh, for quite strongly. Uh, Also, I would like you to note the black dashed curves, which are obtained because of the um, induced axion photon couplings. These couplings can be induced because of the axion lepton couplings. So axion lepton couplings can induce axion photon couplings at one loop level. At an equilibrium, they can still contribute, and that is why full Boltzmann equations are need to be solved. When I say full Boltzmann equation, I mean equations to for distribution functions are required to be solved. Bounds obtained in this work are quite strong for the mass of axion in between MeV and 20 keV, especially for axion for Elb's electron interaction. And for Elp muon interaction, these improve limits for coupling less than 10 to the power minus 2 GeV inverse. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Divya. So we can take few questions. So if you want to ask question, you can raise your hand in participant window or indicate so in the chat window.
So Divya, this is Kaushik here. Can you just argue that why did you take this the initial axion abundance to be 0 and saying that this is a model independent assumption?
Yeah, so we are assuming that we are assuming that there is only axion-lepton interaction and other interactions are switched off. In that case, if you check the probability of producing axion, it is inversely proportional to temperature. So at higher temperature, its probability of producing axion will be very small. So that is why we assume that the initially axions abundance would be very small, and later on it will start increase.
Okay, Raghavan, you can ask your question.
Yeah, it's actually related to this slide itself. I didn't quite catch. So you're saying that under certain circumstances, the axion-like particles will be in thermal equilibrium. And are you saying that if couplings are of a different value, they will not be in thermal equilibrium? And so, and are the equations or the reactions that we're considering the ones that are on this slide, that is L plus minus gamma going to L plus minus A and L minus L plus going to gamma A? With the arrow in both directions to maintain thermal equilibrium?
Yes.
Nice. So you may get thermal equilibrium or you may not, depending on the strength of the coupling.
For example, these long dashed curves. So this region depicts that these particles are in equilibrium. For the dotted curves, which corresponds to smaller coupling, axions or Elps never come into equilibrium.
I see. Thanks.
Okay, so we are out of time. So thank you very much, Divya.